The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, episode 5. There's only 6 episodes altogether, and so I'm going to be able to get on to the rest of my day after I do this video and then watch episode 6 and then tell you how this whole thing wraps up. But oh my goodness. Okay. We start the episode with the acknowledgement that yes, Christine was abusive. The mom beat the living mess out of this child every time she got mad, every time she wanted to, every time a stick broke. We have also discovered that in addition to her, not just like spanking the child with an open palm on her behind, I'm talking fist punches all over this handicapped child's body or this handicapped person's body, right? Okay, that's terrible. In addition to that, if Natalia was bad, which I'm sure she was because she had all of these like psychological issues going on, she was also beaten by her brothers under the direction of her mother, and her brothers were instructed to urinate on her belongings to show her that eliminating in the wrong places around the house was bad. My understanding of like late stage bedwetting or whatever is that like that's a sign of stress. And who wouldn't be stressed in this house full of crazy people? You know, it's nuts. I grew up with people who use this form of punishment. Like if you bit somebody, like as a little kid, then all the other kids got to bite you back. Like not just the one you bit, all of them. Madness. If you hit somebody, then everybody could hit you back. And it was supposed to teach you don't do whatever the thing was, but also it teaches you like, all these people are crazy. This is nuts because this whole thing was nuts. Meanwhile, now Michael and Christine, the parents, have gotten divorced. Oh, and he's spilling all kinds of tea on her. And he's like, I was an abused man. Sir, you were also an abusive man. Remember that time when we saw the police report where you put your wife in the chokehold while she was pregnant? Yeah, that's abuse. That is also abuse. This was a highly dysfunctional family. As this documentary goes along, this man gets more and more dramatic, more and more over the top, and seems increasingly less believable. Every sentence that comes out of his mouth at this point sounds like it's a lie. And I feel like in my heart, some of them might be true. I don't know which ones, because honestly, I think all these people are terrible and all of them lie. Now, was Natalia seriously abused? Seriously abused. Seriously. Lots of trauma, a couple of different families. How damaged was she emotionally when she came to this family? Who knows? But after living with them for 5 years, 7 years, however long she lived with them, there's no question in my mind that she's a victim of tremendous abuse and trauma. Tremendous. As acknowledged by the children. The adult son, Jacob, has such guilt about it that he's the one with who's on the spectrum. And he's just like, I feel like I was a Nazi just following orders. But his mother would instruct him as a 12-year-old and his brothers, aged 6 and 9, to spank Natalia just as she had while the mother sat there and watched. Also, the father sat there and watched. These people are trash. They're absolutely horrible. So, the state is like, how are we going to figure out how old this woman is? This girl is, this person is. We have no idea. So they're like, okay, we're going to send an investigator to the Ukraine to hunt down her biological mother, to do a DNA test to first of all identify, is this the mother, the real biological mother? And then ask her for whatever documentation and ask, how did this girl end up in the United States? So they go to Ukraine. The investigator goes to Ukraine, finds the mother. They do a DNA test. Yes, this is Natalia's mother. The mother confirms that Natalia was born in 2003, September something or other, September 20th, I think they said, 2003. And she obviously had, it was clear to see when she came out that she was going to have disabilities. She was going to be short. She was going to need all these surgeries and all these other things. And the doctor was like, listen, you have another child. You can't take care of this child. We'll send her off to America or some other country. And, she's going to have a beautiful, wonderful life where she can get everything she needs. You need to leave her behind. The mother still lives with the guilt from that to this day. So, now we know the girl is born in 2003. She was not the age they thought she was, but she's not as old as the courts have labeled her. Here's the other thing about the courts re-aging her. Now, call me crazy. They said the courts re-aged her. I thought that meant they went to court, they talked to the judge, there was documentation, the judge heard from the doctor and all these other people and whatever. Nah, that's not how that happened. Affidavits were signed from medical professionals, unknown, who knows which ones, where the doctor was like, when I treated her, she appeared to be blah. There was no witnesses, no questions were asked. It was a paperwork trial. And so, not even a trial, it was paperwork. They sent all the paperwork into the court and the court signed it and was like, yeah, here's whole new birthday. We're going to change her age by 14 years. So today, 2023, legally, she's 33. Actually, I think she said she's 19, something like that. Like biologically, she's a young adult, which means if we do the math backwards, when they abandoned her in her first apartment, she was 13. A 13-year-old living on her own in a city where, her family was at least nearby. The second time they abandoned her was about a year and a half later. So she was 14 and a half, living in a bad neighborhood on her own. And that's when the other family picked her up and took her in and apparently gave her a good life. Seems like she has a good life now because she has a new mom, although the new mom cannot legally adopt her. Although you can do adult adoption. I don't know why they didn't do that, but whatever. But she lives with this new family and all of her Social Security benefits and food assistance or whatever goes to them and they feed her and care for her. And I think ultimately, that's the best outcome from her. Lord, I hope this girl's okay. And that she got the mental help that she needed. But this family, the Barnetts, sick, twisted people. But as the episode ends, Michael Barnett is about to go to court to find out, will he be found guilty of abandoning a child? And here's the thing. The judge has ruled, since we kind of don't know how old she is, that they can't refer to her as a child. Did they abandon a disabled person? Absolutely they did. And so that's going to be the argument, that they abandoned a disabled person. But the judge has ruled no mention of her age can be made. My pressure, y'all, my blood. I'm gonna have to go for a nice long walk, near a babbling brook or something like that, because the stress. Okay, one more episode left and we find out exactly what happened. I will watch it and report back, and then I promise I'm gonna finish that dress today. Bye.